what are some lessons learned? I mean, for that guy or gal who's currently already reasonably successful, maybe making a couple $100,000 of income like you were back in, I think, 2016. What are some lessons that you've learned along the way that, created this massive success that you have today?
And this is, it's like, it's hard to get to a point where you have the money to spend on marketing, a big chunk of money, which is what I had when I met you. You didn't know that. I didn't tell you that, but I wasn't going to tell you that. But anyway, I was like, I was at a point where I was prepared to pay $100,000, not at once. Of course, yeah, I don't guess I ever told you the number I had in my pocket at the time, but I looked at that like
I'm sending the bill right now. It's a little bit overdue, but
but seriously, I had that money earmarked for marketing, not to spend it all at once, obviously, but to test out marketing until I finally found. But I've always had a little bit of a savvy mind when it comes to listening to somebody's pitch to see if it's something they're pitching me on that's a broad scale system that they have that could work for anybody. Of course, when they tell me that, I'm like, no, that's not for me. But, and so, finding somebody like you is very hard. It's very hard to find because I looked for a while. I looked for probably really hard 6 months. I took some time off. Not really. I still wrote some cases, but I really did focus on, because I was like, I need to figure out social media marketing, and I want to figure it out this year.
Yeah.
And that's when, when I found you, I knew you could do it. And even though you had those other partners on the system that you guys were selling at the time. So I was like, because you had the right personality for me. And that's why, I don't remember if I emailed you or I called it or something, but we ended up talking, and that was, it was a great conversation. So, and then, within, I think 2 or 3 weeks, we said, let's do it, and we put some stuff together. So, it's like, if somebody's listening to this video right now and they're in the right industry, which is what, the industry that we're all in right now, it's like, it's something that definitely would work.
Yeah.
But you still, just like anybody else, you got to close the deal on your end, which, I had plenty that I didn't close, but, I knew if I closed one out of, whatever the numbers were, I never had to worry about the numbers, because when I landed the first one, I was like, all right, if I didn't close another one for 3 years, I'd still, I'd net a lot of money. So, but I'm not like that. I knew. Sure. Yeah, sure. But you just get better at it and better at it, and you fine tune the system, and then and then it just worked like clockwork. So if you're not putting any money in marketing, and or if you're putting money in marketing in mailers and stuff like that stuff doesn't work. That's old school. Most social media is the only place, and I know that for a fact. I mean, you can still make some money on mailers, don't get me wrong, and stuff like that, but old school stuff is, I mean, look, I know everybody's after me with stuff that they have, but I do not ever look at anything in the mail, ever. So it's like, I know that stuff is, older people may look, sometimes, but they're still that. But I think a lot of them, because of COVID, are now on the internet. Yeah, and I know they are. And so that's a whole nother level. Now you got a whole nother group of people, everybody that is, that's now, buying things on the internet and searching for things and searching for services on the internet. And so it's even more important now to be able to, to figure something out from a social media standpoint and marketing. But it can take your business to a level that you wouldn't dream of. And especially having, somebody like you that understands the niche and how to carve out a niche and how to say, okay, I'm going to own these people. Because when I did the real estate developers, I started learning their terms and their jargon, and then, now I can talk like, well, I am one of them, but I'm just, you are. I can talk, but I understand everything. When I meet a new one, it's like we hit it.
And that's how you build trust with a complete stranger, is that they can see.
When I tell them, because when I'd tell them my story after they told me yours, and like, holy crap, I know all about their business, I understand it, tell them what, so it's like, it's just like, bam, that's it. And that's why a target market that fine-tuned and niched is so important, is because you know them better than any other agent knows them or advisor knows them. And you know exactly what all their pain points are before they even tell you anything. And when you can talk their language, I mean, that just, it makes a huge difference.
And I think that's the secret to becoming effective online, right? It's, if you just think, well, I can reach people in this far flung place, but I really don't know anything about them. I just think maybe they have the demographics where they can, afford to pay me a bunch of money. I mean, that's where you're going to, I think that's a losing battle. Conversely, if you're, only doing local, and you go to general, now you get someone like yourself stepping in who might be in a completely different state, but it's going to win the case because, you understand the market that much better and can demonstrate from, all kinds of different ways that you understand them. And so they're going to go with you over their local advisor. Right?
Oh, they do. Well, they do. That's the thing about it. It's like they'll have an insurance agent already, but they don't even, after I talk to them, they're like, okay, so what I need to do with this other policy? Well, and the funny thing is they're like, well, I haven't talked to them. This is happening right now. So it's a good example. The guy down in Miami, he said, oh, I got another policy. What should I do with that? And I asked him about it a little bit, and he told me a little bit. And I said, send me an enforced illustration, got all that. I said, yeah, we can 1035 exchange that into this policy. I said, I don't know what kind of relationship. He said, all she's ever called me out is when she wants to sell me something else. And he said, she's never had a strategy. You got strategies that are insane. He said, I've never heard any of this stuff, but he said, now I can see what I can do with all this is just works out way better. And I was like, he said, so yeah, I don't care. Just tell me what you need and I'll get it from her and we're going to work with you. I was like, so, it makes me feel good, but you have, strategies instead of just selling a product. I've never been about selling a product. So if that, I'd tell them about an agent, if you're just selling a product and you don't really have a strategy behind it, you probably won't be on this call with you anyway, but I mean, that is just, you got to have some strategies, some good strategies too, smart, and there's a lot of them with life insurance. I mean, I've seen so many different things that I understand and know about, but I stick in that one little spot that I'm in, and I don't even do any of that anymore. I just, because I don't, once you get really good at something, you got an audience, you got people coming to you. There's no reason to go out. I don't even go back to them and try to do like Key Man or anything. I just don't have time for it because I'm so busy, and I'd rather just focus on doing the one thing I do well. And I'll tell them, hey, I got a guy you can go talk to about a Key Man if you want to, but and I do have that. I got a little junior partner that I brought in. So now I have another, now I make money off of somebody else's efforts with the same clients through all this stuff. So